Your brother will love that. It'll be like what is it, ASMR? Plus, I've also noticed that me and you, I can't sit still. I'm forever sort of moving my legs about and messing about. But also, you're a bit of a fiddler, sir.
Yes.
Every time you touch this or drum your fingers or whatever.
That's why I started putting it on a pot. Thinking it might just. Every time you put a cup down, bang! Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It's about, 5-6 degrees, is it? I'm struggling to get my teeth through that.
I think they're better than a marathon. Snickers, sorry. 1980s reference there.
I've forgotten what a Snickers tastes like now.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they?
Do me.
The poor man's.
Poor and wise.
Yeah. No.
I like to consider myself both.
What does Shell say?
Oh, Shell knows it.
Really? Are you sure about that?
Oh, yeah. No, she knows.
Says with confidence.
She knows I'm Paul. I don't know. Well, wise. I can't beat her at any like wordy board games or anything. Oh, God, she's a nightmare at Scrabble.
Why, because she's good.
Oh, horrendous. Well, she plays all this Wordle stuff as well, and then she might be stuck, and then she'll ask me, "Can you think of anything that might fit here?" No. If you haven't, I won't. No.
Well, bearing in mind, I've read quite a lot of what you've written for Profi, and I think it's pretty good. She's obviously like another league to you, and I would consider myself like the lowest of the low when it comes to that, because I'm just rubbish. I hate doing it. It's just
I don't know. It's more everyday sort of language that I'm using in Profi. It's not.
Well, yeah, Howard did say it's quite good because it's short sentences and it's easy to read. But I think it's quite funny the way I'll read some of it.
That's one of the only bits of feedback that I've had. It's short sentences and it's easy to read.
Yeah, but that is from an agricultural journalist of 40 odd years. He's probably near 50 now. So, yeah. There's some of the stuff that gets written in Farmer's Guardian, because obviously he worked there for however many years, drives him absolutely batty. Like,
really?
Yeah, using words where they shouldn't. Hey?
Wordy?
Yeah, using the wrong words in the wrong place, using unnecessary words, and yeah, he gets quite agitated by it. It's quite agitating.
You know, I think I could be guilty of that as well.
Well, I would say. Well, I'll have to next time I read one. I'll think about that.
Well, I like a proper word that you slap in, which just really defines the situation.
Yeah.
Rather than going round the houses.
Yeah.
If that one word just cuts through it nicely, but there's a lot of these really long words that do that I don't know about. I know one or two, but that's it. But once you've written them like 3 or 4 times in the same paragraph, yeah, like, kill it now.
Yeah, now I just learnt a new word. I'm in primary school.
I'll have to find a new one now, yeah. Exactly. But that report of, nice short sentences and, and it's easy to understand. I think the last time I got a report like that was at primary school.
Well, and in fairness, Felicity said the same thing about school. Like, I remember when we were at secondary school, so we were at secondary school together, although not the same class, but obviously it wasn't a massive school. But I remember in English, we didn't learn anything to speak of. It was more like learning how to pass the exam, or learning, just practicing. And Felicity said the same thing about, she's at secondary school now, and she says, we're not really learning anything, we're just going over the same stuff, or she just said we're not really learning anything.
I still say the best thing to help you writing, or to help you formulate a sentence, is just read other people's work.
Really?
It's strange how it goes in.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's probably why I'm not the greatest at it, because I hate reading, and I try to do it, but I just lose interest in it so quickly.
You're all right in a magazine if there's like a picture of a tractor alongside it, just to keep you.
I'll be honest, like most magazines that I get, I don't read. I flick through. It's got to be some article that's been very specific or something I really want to. Because if I don't read it, then I'm never going to read it. I think I'm also slow at reading as well, much to Liz's amusement, which means it's just like takes too long and I lose interest and I think I've got better things to do on time.
She gives you read shame.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, what if it looks back, to be honest? I'm not bothered.
Bring it.
Yeah, I'd like to be better at reading, but just, yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, no, I'm not.
You can string a sentence together, so long as it's coherent and you can get your points across and it can't be misinterpreted.
Yeah, my phone keeps flashing, which is mildly irritating.
It's not irritating, James. It's unprofessional.
So we'll put that away in here. Stop that happening.
Mine's not on silent, but it is in my pocket.
Mine is on silent.
So between us, we're getting there.
Yeah, learning. What I would say is, I have said to the girls, like when we were at secondary school, I wasn't that academic. I did all right, but yeah, I wasn't. I sort of prioritised, and so the things that I didn't really think were worth my time because I only had so much capability was things like RE, religious studies, and French. Yes. So I scraped an F in French, which is, I don't know how I did that. But one thing I have said to the girls is, I never anticipated in my career that I would end up working with the Dutch, the Germans. I'm currently negotiating to sell somebody lacto lines in French, thanks to Google Translate. Israelis, who else? Danish. So if it probably wouldn't have made any difference if someone had said to me when I was that age, when you're older, you're going to end up working with all these different languages. So actually, it's in your interest to learn one language, because learning one language means it's easier to learn another. If someone had said that to me, I'd have probably just ignored them. But actually, now I'm thinking, when we go to Italy, me and Lindsay go to Italy sort of every 2 years to Cease Perry. I went in November, but we go to the factory. And you sat there in a meeting, and obviously they're talking Italian, and you feel so ignorant that they're being made to speak English, and their English is significantly better than my Italian.
Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. I would have liked. Well, the school that we went to, we had to do French. That was just standard, and then if you wanted, you could have done German as well.
Yeah,
I'd have preferred to have done German.
Yep.
And just dropped the French.
Yeah, definitely. I found go on, sorry.
I can stumble through a French sentence, kind of, or get the rough kind of gist.
Yeah.
But I would have preferred to have done German because I had a bit more interest in it. Simply because I'd rather visit Germany than France. France is a nice place. It's full of French people.
Well, yeah, but you said the same about Germany.
You don't like the Germans?
I
yeah.
don't. I don't dislike the Germans.
Well, we're not getting into like past experiences, are we, or or track records?
No, but I'm just saying, like, you could say that about any country, like the country, but it's full of whatever the native is.
You can say that about bits of our country.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did Germany. No, I did German. I did the whole of Germany. I did German for a term at secondary school. I don't know quite why, but I found it like methodical and like easier to like. It made more sense to me. So I much rather would have done German as French.
We did it in third year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you had to pick your like options, and there was no way of doing German
without dropping something interesting, like
without doing something that you actually wanted to do. Yeah. So. Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from on the learning German thing.
but you just... I know exactly what you mean. You're in another place, like, I think the last place abroad I went to was Spain.
Yeah.
Don't know Spanish.
No.
And I just... The whole time that I was there and you were trying to order something or interact with the locals or whatever, and you just felt... You felt ignorant.
Yeah.
And helpless.
Yeah.
And frustrated.
And you have to respect their tolerance of the fact that
Absolutely.
they're almost more willing to speak English to communicate with us than they are to put up with us making a hash of their language and disrespecting it in their inability to speak it.
Yeah, but it's not as though we're not disrespecting it, and we're not.
Not intentionally.
No.
But when you're making a cock up of speaking it, and they're like, really, for the love of God, we'll just speak English because it's easier.
Yeah, and it's not that we don't want to.
No, not at all. It's just
if they knew how bad we felt about it.
Yeah.
Whereas there will be some people that just go abroad and just start, well, I just expect everybody to speak English. And
yeah.
if they don't understand me, just go loud.
I have met someone like that, and I just thought, you ignorant.
Yeah.
I just thought that's not
really work.
Anyway, not my sort of person, to be honest. That's the top and bottom of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How the hell did we get here?
I don't know. That was
schooling.
That's not on the list.
English. That was it. English. Yeah, I know. We
We've
made a little list of things to
that's
try and
not
stick to, and we haven't set off a timer either. So this could we'll probably just have to wait for the camera to run out like last time.
We didn't even run out because it wasn't even that long. It just, I don't know.
Have you got a new data card in there?
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. So we're half-assing it like normal.
Yeah.
But there is people watching it, which is like mind-blowing, to be honest.
It is, yes. But I would argue that often effort put in reflects what you're getting out.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a couple of thousand, tens of thousands or whatever views, then we might have to put a little bit more effort in.
Yeah.
But as it is, and there's no clear goal or aim either, really.
No.
Just we're not doing this with any mercenary intent or
no.
This is just, we're going to get this started and then we're going to do all sorts of stuff off the back of it. Well, no.
Let's be honest, we have these chats anyway, so all we're doing is recording them.
Yeah.
Which is where it started, wasn't it? You were saying, like, should we just record these chats that we have at dinner time? And it took us about 6 months to get organised.
Because we thought that they were so intelligent and so informative. Yeah.
But actually, they're just opinion and nonsense.
Yeah, but it's opinion based on, I would think, a bit of thought process.
Yeah. There is a bit of madness.
I know my grey cells are having to churn away a fair bit.
Yeah. To think about stuff.
Stopping me from just going blank on camera.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But, yeah, so...
Anyway, moving on from the written word.
Yeah,
school.
Anyway, thank you to those who are watching, because in fairness, like, yeah.
Yeah, this kind of staggers me, because you said... Well, you'll get more feedback, because you've got you're the editor extraordinaire and publisher.
Well, let's be honest. Cut and shut, like a bad car.
It's more than I'm doing. But what feedback have you had?
Not that massive amount, but yeah, it does seem to be a demand for it. People seem to be entertained by it.
I've had, 2 people?
Right.
In fact, Shell listened to one the other day.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Didn't watch, obviously. Too busy for that.
Well, that's fair enough. Well, it is intended as a...
Yeah, well, who wants to watch us two slurp away at tea and...
talk gibberish? Lindsay! She's like, when's the next one coming out? When I get my finger out.
Well now, glad you brought this up. I can't remember exactly what I was going to say now, because I got all excited because there was something that I'd remembered and now it's just gone. Oh, good God. Oh, that was it. Apparently I have been besmirching her good name by saying that she might be a little bit fast at driving, or a little bit creative with a rally style. However, I just base this on the facts. The fact is that there's still her car under a sheet here with the steering rack missing.
And it's under a sheet so it doesn't get covered in weld sparks and splatter and stuff like that and damage the paint. But yeah, the steering rack is... So yeah, the steering rack has gone to be reconditioned down at Grays in Essex. Or Thurrock or something like that. Somewhere down there, long way away.
Yeah.
So I did go to try and get one off a car. There's an outfit called You Pull It at York, where you basically go and take stuff off cars. And annoyingly, they had the car that would have it on, but they wouldn't tell me if it still had the steering rack on. So I was like, I said, oh, like I'm an hour away, and he said, yeah, same for all the customers. I'm like, mint. But
love that attitude. Love it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was for the 93 quid it would have cost had it been there. It was worth going down for it.
Yes.
But then I got there and found the car, and it's probably the only car in the whole place where the whole of the front end had been taken.
Gone.
So engine, gearbox, radiators, subframe, suspension, everything, the whole lot. There was basically just the wings and what there is of like the chassis rails that come forwards and the bonnet. Everything else is gone. I got a picture, I'll put it on. I was like...
Did you optimistically just think, well, I will look under the bonnet, but, you know,
well,
I might be surprised, but
I optimistically asked at the counter to say, by any chance, you know the car that's got no front end on it, did any chance did he keep the steering rack? Oh no, they'll have scrapped it. We'll have taken the engine out of that, and they'll have scrapped the suspension and everything else. Right, so they wouldn't tell me if it had it, but they'd taken everything off it, so they probably did know.
A potential what? £300 part?
What, for the steering rack?
Yeah. Or maybe even £4.
To who? Well,
for them to retail.
Well, no, because like if any of the other breakers yards are like £700, £900. Just it's 470 plus VAT to get it reconditioned. So it was £93 for a steering rack for me to take it off down there.
Yeah.
470 recondition it, and 700 to 900 for one off out of breakers somewhere else, which they'd have already taken it off. So you basically go and collect it, or they'd send it. Either way.
But the problem with taking it off a breaker is some of these can be accident salvage.
Well, you just don't know what you're getting, right? And it just seems like a lot of money. So my plan was to go and buy the one for 93 quid, put it on here, get it going, and then recondition the one that came off it, because we knew how many miles it had done, we know what it's done.
Yeah.
Put that on here, and then sell the one that I'd got from, and recoup some of the expense.
Yeah.
But as a plan, it was a great plan that fell foul of driving an hour and 20 minutes to the other side of York, and then drive an hour and 20 minutes back. So yeah, Saturday morning was an epic waste of time.
Yeah, but you see, it's not just the time. It's the hour and 20 minutes back in a foul temper.
Oh, did you speak to Lindsay?
No. No.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
The only thing that
She got a phone call and
and
got the raw end of my bad humour.
she had to calm you down.
Yeah. Well, do you know what calmed me down? Because she knows how to play me like a fiddle. Do you want to fry up when you get home? Yes, please. So, fry up when I got home. And that set the day back on an even keel.
Take note. Well, will there be any ladies listening to this?
Well, I don't know. We have no idea.
But yeah, that's a pretty good surefire answer.
A fry up.
Fryer.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So it was like absolute winner. So yeah. So that set us up. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Car's still here. Steering rack's down in the southeast of England. Hopefully being reconditioned.
Exactly.
And hopefully we'll land back at some point next week. Assuming they don't ring up and say, oh, actually, it's beyond economical repair, you need a new one, which will then be 700, 900 quid. Like, ugh, that'll be annoying.
They're electric.
Yeah.
What are they, like a circulating ball?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Witchcraft.
Well, I didn't even try and work it out, to be honest, because, yeah. If in fairness, yeah, no, I'm not going to try and work it out.
All right.
There's some things I just don't need to know. My small mind doesn't need to know how the electric power steering works from Naples. I just need it to work, to be honest.
I struggle to keep on top of what I have to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't got the spare capacity to learn this shit.
Oh, we're at maximum. 99% of the time, we're at maximum mental load.
I can agree with that.
With too many things going on.
Or if something new crops up, then something else has to give.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah.
And then you forget about it, and then suddenly you're reminded.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's the scary thing, is the amount of stuff you sort of that's important and is needs attention, but just gets forgotten about because you're too busy thinking about other things. And then out of the blue, something will come and remind you, like, oh, damn it. That needs sorting.
Yes. No, I know exactly.
Even
just sat here now, I've got quite a few emails running through the back of my mind that I'm thinking, shit, I meant to get round to replying to that or sorting that out. And of course, sat here, it's Friday afternoon, I'm not going to get to a computer before 5 o'clock. So...
Do you know the best thing for thinking about stuff I found? And I think it's because you're physically doing something and your subconscious is just there ticking away in the background and you're not really thinking about stuff, but subconsciously it's just doing its thing. Milking cows. So I used to milk cows. I was at what they call a relief milker, where I went to a farm and I milked cows by putting the milking clusters on the cows, and you're there for the time it takes to start milking the cows, finish milking the cows, wash out, and then turn everything off and walk out the building. So it's like a couple of hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
But it's all, once you get into a rhythm, it's just very repetitive.
Yeah, it's just in your face. So it's like you know exactly what you're doing, and you're paying attention, and the radio's in the background. So like sometimes that can sort of occupy your subconscious. But then on top of that, like some of the ideas I had when I was milking, just like out of the blue like that, just yeah, and it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, why didn't I think of that sooner? But it's just because your subconscious, you're physically occupied, but your subconscious is doing the sort of.
I think you should just, even if you call it a mental health day or something, I think you should go and do some relief milking somewhere, and then you could come up with some more ideas, like 1,000 horsepower doorstep plastic shredder.
No, I think we've got enough ideas. I dare do that. And you know, the thing that does ruin me for the day, mentally, is talking to the patent attorney. So Lactaline is patented in the UK, and we've gone through the process of dealing with patent attorneys. An hour on the phone to the patent attorney just ruins my brain. I just can't think. I'm just ruined after it, somehow. And like you think, well,
because you've just had to be on your game for all that time, and just
like, why is it so difficult, or why does my brain why do I end up just so ruined after an hour of talking to the patent attorney and trying to understand what we're doing with it? And I do understand it, but it just takes some getting your head round sometimes. And like,
it's all new. That's the thing. It's all new. And you've a lot invested in it, and it's got to be right.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah,
why bother?
That is some of the problem. Is it's got to be right. But the other problem is that like, they can't answer a straight question with a straight answer. So they won't answer a question with a yes or no. And I sort of see why sometimes, but it is infuriating when you ask a straight question and it's like, surely they can't just answer yes or no to that, and then they come up with a way of saying all sorts of stuff. You're like, oh man. So yeah, that's some of the reason why it just Just
run it past me again there, James. Patent attorney.
Oh yeah, Oh, they are clever. Don't get me wrong. They are like insanely clever. Because what they have to do is they basically have to write a patent application in such a way that it is as specific as it possibly can be, whilst being as vague as it possibly can be, so that nobody can find a way round whatever it is you're patenting. So they have to think about it in so many different ways and potential ways in which somebody could copy it and it not be protected by a patent. Not infringe the patent. So they are like mind-blowingly clever. They've basically got 3 brains, I think, because of the way they think about stuff. They've got like 3 sort of different sorts of brains in the way they think about stuff.
Go on.
Well, like they think about something logically.
Yeah.
Then they have to think about it how someone else would think about it. And then they have to put all that into words in such a way that someone else couldn't come along and pick holes in the wording to then find a way around it. And some of the times, I read the patent and some of the claims, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And you say, like... and so I've said to him, like, this sentence here doesn't make any sense to me. And he's like, no, that's just patent language. I'm like, what? Well, it's patent language. I'm like, right? And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, that's nonsense. But anyway, you can't argue with them.
I've tried to read agreements before now, and it isn't plain English in the slightest. It's the plaintiff to the sub whatever of the, and then therefore, there's so many contradictions in there, and I hate to say it, but like double negatives as well. And as soon as I've gone past 1 or 2 of them, who's the protagonist in this again? Is this me, or is this the other party, or who's the?
Yeah.
I don't know. I get lost. It's almost like Shakespeare. Remember when we did Shakespeare at school, and just hath forth thou not doth thot. I never get it. I just don't get it at all.
No.
Well, George is doing it as well at the moment, but thankfully we bought him some of those books where you've got the page of Shakespearean text,
right,
and then like a translation down the side.
Oh wow!
Of this is what they mean, which
and those didn't exist when we were at school.
They maybe did, but no one told us, no one cared, no one. We didn't care.
No, we didn't.
No.
It's like,
bollocks.
This is nonsense. How is this going to help me? I'm we're learning German.
Oh, but it's so ambiguous as well, isn't it? You can, as long as you back up your answer, you could just pick the most useless little bit of text, but just say, "Oh, this speaks deeply of blah de blah," and the wishy-washy
nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give me some numbers and a yes or a no.
So we're slating Shakespeare.
True.
Probably shouldn't really. Get smited for that.
What's he gonna do? Yeah. I think
So-
it's well, I dare say it was very good,
Yes.
but not for me.
So yeah.
Anyway, next on the list, James.
Are we going from the bottom up?
Well, I don't know.
Looks like it right now.
Well, possibly, but we got talking about milking,
Yeah.
and then I thought, well, you can tell us all about your how Lactaline's doing.
Good.
Yeah.
Sold. So I went and fitted some on a parlour at Holyhead a week last Monday, and I said to him, I'll leave it with you a week, and I'll give you a shout next Monday, and we'll see how you're getting on. Anyway, I spoke to him on Wednesday and said, how are you getting on with Lactaline? He says, brilliant. I was like, oh wow. And that's like, from my point of view, that's like exactly what I want to hear. He thinks it's brilliant, and so he's ordered it. So it's sold.
Set.
So that's 50. It's a 50-point rotary. So yeah, it's a full pile's worth of on a new type of pile that we haven't fitted it to before as well, which is another tick in the box. And like I said about negotiating with somebody it's actually in Switzerland, in French. The reason is that parlour is the same as the one at Holyhead.
Oh.
So that's a good do because it's like ticked another type of milking parlour, well, another brand of milking parlour off the list that we know it works on and it's going to do a good job. So yeah, and then so that's a win. And in fairness, that came through whilst I was on the phone to somebody from the British Embassy in Mexico. So somehow, well, basically Mexico is now, and it sounds like South America in general, really, actually. They are looking for ag tech, so agricultural technology, to improve their own agriculture industry.
Yeah.
And they're looking at Europe and the UK. Because in fairness to the UK, although like we don't produce that much stuff, we do produce some pretty cool stuff. And I'm not like obviously lactoline is my thing, but it's quite simple. But there is things like hoof count automatic foot baths that are going all over the world from a family business in Lancashire, and it's the one I've got a lot of time for. And there's things like that that are just so it's that sort of stuff they're after. So I ended up on the phone, well, it was a Zoom call with a representative from the Department of Trade and Industry, who actually is about 5 miles away, 2 people from the British Embassy in Mexico talking about lactoline, and that was quite interesting. So there, what was surprising to me is, and this is a bit frustrating really, population of 126 million in Mexico, 159,000 farmers, of which they couldn't just tell me how many were dairy farmers, of which most are milking less than 100 cows. So the way it sort of worked out is in this country we've got 67 million population. I can't remember if it's 63 or 67.
I would think it's high 70s, isn't it now?
High 70s?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was as much as that. Anyway.
I think we'll find out, don't worry.
Yeah.
I would.
Somewhere between 60 and 70 million.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So we've like half the population, and we are, either side, I think it's dropped below 8,000 dairy farmers in the UK. So our production efficiency of cows in this country is significantly higher than Mexico.
Yes, but we are a warm, wet, temperate climate for producing, I don't know, grass.
Yeah.
What's Mexico like?
I don't know. But what I would say on the flip side of that is Saudi Arabia, their dairy industry is in a desert, and their average yield per cow, they've got some incredible dairy farms milking a lot of cows, doing incredible yield per cow per day. Bearing in mind that it's all imported feed and it's all like, I'd love to go there because I just think it was such an education. So that was quite interesting talking to them about, because so what had happened was a distributor had gone to the embassy or representative who are in charge of like food and drink and ag tech or something, and said, can you speak to this lot? So then they contacted the DTI over here, and then he'd come on to me. So it's quite interesting because just situations you never thought you'd end up in.
No, it's all good.
Talking
it's all surprising,
to some people in Mexico about a product that I've been pretty responsible for developing.
Yeah. You see, I personally thought that out there in Mexico, I thought there'd be a bit more like North America, America itself.
Yeah.
I thought that they'd be bigger units and possibly even business-owned units, just a few big, because hopefully plenty of staff about.
Well, that's what I was just about to say, because there was a presentation that he sent me, and one of the things he said in there is they're short of labour in Mexico. And you're like, well, that surprises me. That's the problem we've got here. And yet, like, supposedly, Mexico, or the Mexicans are going north into America.
Yeah.
And yet, so you're thinking, well,
there'll be pull factors though, won't there?
well, yeah. But it just surprised me because you're thinking, well, surely Mexico's just a forever amount of staff, people willing to do it.
What wages can they pay
I don't know.
off the back of milking 100 cows out there? Possibly
I don't
not so
know.
much.
No. I did ask what's the milk price as well, and they said it's between 80 cents US dollars, between 80 and $1, 80 cents and $1
A
a litre. Yeah, which I thought, well, actually that's not so bad.
That's
I think it's
better
like
than
two.
here.
Is it $2 and a bit to a pound? So it's like,
What? American?
yeah,
No way.
we'll have to Google
Is
this
it?
now.
I don't know. It always used to be.
Yeah, well-
I would, off the top of my head, I would say there'd be about 1 1/3.
Hang on, let's just work. Phone's having a fit. Let's
1
quickly
1/3
just
to 1 1/2. Something
go on
like that.
to EXE. Typical. I've got everything on here apart from US dollars. Oh, there it is, the top one. Right, let's try that. So, it's 126. So no, it's not even that. So they're on a good milk price then.
Hellish, yeah.
So £1 is $1.26.
Yep.
So that'd be about 60 pence a litre. Would it not? If you went the other way.
You'd be roughly about there, yeah. Yeah, you'd be. I reckon you'll be
79 at
you'll be
1.26.
50% more what you get over here, or the equivalent of.
Yeah.
So
So
what a lot of places on, like you're low 40s, are you? At the moment.
well, no, it's sort of mid 40s now, which is good for here.
Yeah.
But over there at 80 cents, that's 63 pence a litre,
Yeah.
which is a good do, really.
You know, yeah.
So, but equally, I think what's going to happen, what will end up happening is, so the lad in Mexico is going to send it round his equivalents in all the sort of South American countries like Argentina and Brazil and all those countries. And I think that's where, so Argentina and Brazil will be more likely to do something with Lat's line than Mexico is. But there's a chap, the distributor that's contacted them is importing semen, dairy semen from the UK from Cemex, which is a UK company. So he's looking for other things to supply to his customers. So there's already stuff going that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was quite interesting. And yeah, like I said, situation I didn't expect to end up in. And
No, God no. It's all interesting. Once you get to a certain point, the world becomes a bit smaller, doesn't it?
yeah, it becomes just. I mean, he hasn't done as much. Like, there's a long way to go with Lat's line. There's a lot of potential with it, but it's certainly interesting that the sort of the people I talk to and the interest in it. So yeah, that was like I say, interesting.
Yeah.
It might not go anywhere as well. You're always like in the back of your mind thinking, well, is this just all hot air? But if you
find out.
Yeah, if you don't have a go, you never know.
Yeah.
So yeah. That was.
You mentioned Mexico to me earlier before we kicked the camera off.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly became very animated about something that looked to have annoyed you. And I was just wondering what was that?
Oh no, it was about our efficiency of cows.
Oh right.
Well, based on the figures that they told me yesterday, our cows must be a hell of a lot more efficient than theirs are, based on the number of the population, the number of dairy farmers, the production, because they're exporting $2 million worth of milk in whatever products, I don't know what they're in, but they're also importing. So like they're importing slightly more than they're exporting,
Right.
but most of it is going for home consumption. And it based on the figures they've told us, and the fact that the average herd is less than 100 cows, they must be pretty inefficient cows compared to ours. The number of litres they're producing per day must be a lot less. as an average. Just because, like I said, our population 60 million, our number of dairy farmers is either side of 8,000. It could be less than 8,000 now. I can't just remember. I think it has. Yeah, I think it has dropped below 8,000. So like that itself is an eye opener. The fact that
true, but you've also got to think: what are your inputs? What are these? What are these cows eating?
Yeah.
Are they eating the finest, high protein, high sugar, ryegrass mix that ever existed, or are they chewing away at some twiggy bush somewhere that's covered in spikes?
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to go and see.
Yeah,
it would be fascinating to go and see.
You know, I mean, there might not be the overall output might be rubbish, but if your inputs are negligible.
But equally, if they're getting 60 odd pence a litre, they're not doing so bad. But yeah.
Well, I think there's room for investment there, isn't there?
Which is why they're looking for agtech.
Yeah.
Obviously. I guess that's the drive behind it. So
but are they getting paid so much because they value the product more?
Well, potentially. I had a conversation with someone who works at Arla off the back of this Bovia thing. And then when Arla are exporting to the Far East, they do not care about like sustainability, environmental impact, anything like that. Because as far as they're concerned, milk is a wonder fluid.
Yeah, they just want it.
Because of all the calcium, all the nutrients, everything it's got in it, they just think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And we've got to the point now where it's like we sort of take that for granted, and it's seen as like there's so many alternatives that we would rather drink that are just absolute rubbish.
Beggar's belief. I'll quite happily, if I'm out and about, if I'm grabbing a sandwich somewhere, and this is never on any meal deal, but I'll do it anyway, I'll grab a sandwich, I'll grab a pint of blue milk. Rather than, no, I don't really want anything fizzy and full of sugar, or full of sweeteners, or, you know, or you see lots of people knocking around, swigging this Monster and Red Bull, and you don't need it.
It amazes me how many people are drinking that stuff. Like when we went sort of our mid-20s, Red Bull became sort of a drink that was available.
I would say early 20s.
Yeah.
We were smashing it in at college.
Yeah.
But
it was in the little tins, and you normally had it when you were drinking on a night out. You didn't drink it as a rule during the day.
It wasn't this looks like a refreshing sort of a
no.
No.
It was normally with some sort of alcoholic shot. Like, well, a Jaeger bomb basically, wasn't it? That's when you drank it. But yeah, now it's just, and there's a farm down in the south, pumpkin grower. They're growing a lot of pumpkins, and they have a lot of foreign staff. They have vending machines in the like canteen bit, full of Monster and all that stuff. Because if we put anything else in there, they don't drink it. They will only drink energy drinks. I'm like, bloody hell, you have no idea what that stuff's doing to you.
Oh, no way.
And like the tins have got bigger as well.
Oh, the Monster ones, they're bloody huge. They're like a pint.
Yeah. I did I said I went from Chester to Bristol last week, and it was a pig of a journey. Well, I did end up stopping at Gloucester Services, and I bought a litre of milk just because I wanted something to drink, and I was like, the only thing I want is milk. I just want something refreshing that isn't going to fizz me up or do anything like that. So I went and bought a litre of milk, and it was good. It wasn't mighty expensive, but it was organic, and because of where I bought it. But
that's the thing, though. You'll go and get a litre of milk, or even a pint, one of those little pint jugs, and you look at it and you think, seems a little bit expensive, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then you go and look at, like you say, the array of what is basically carbonated water, some sugar, and a few dodgy chemicals tipped into a can. Like £2.
Yeah.
£2 for a can. And yet, like you say, they're just walking off the shelves.
Yeah. Just mentally.
Yeah, like, who the hell? I heard a little clip about someone was saying about the genius of the marketing of Red Bull when it first came out. Gave it to some people to test, and they're like, "Ooh, tastes a bit funny." And, and so Red Bull then doubled down. They made the cans smaller and made it taste worse.
Right.
But it was that fact that this must. If there's only so much in there and it tastes that bad, there must be something really awesome in there. And that's what it kicked off. It does not taste good. I've drunk it on nights out before, but not for a long time. It's not.
No.
It's not ideal.
So, anyway, it's weird. So our last topic is Christmas, which is
imminent.
It's
imminent, James. It's happening.
What is it today? What are we on? It's
13th.
12 days time.
Yeah.
December just disappears, doesn't it? Like December just vanishes because of Christmas somehow.
You're looking at someone that hasn't, as yet, managed to get the tree put up yet.
Have you not? No,
I've got the sparkly lights dancing around outside and what have you, but we've yet to. I don't know. No one's just kind of been in the mood yet.
No, I was with.
There will be.
We set a date and
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're maybe to blame as well because we haven't made too much of a song and dance about it.
Yeah.
So, but the house is just full of. In fact, they're queued up outside of delivery vans, honking at each other. Just we've had to set up a one-way system just to get him in and out, and waving them in off the road and.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's not good. Just cardboard again.
What's that? Sorry?
Cardboard boxes.
Put it. What do you want now?
Just so much packaging. What's wrong with just
I'm sure someone
putting a label
a
on?
solution to that. A big X for
No,
you.
what I'm saying is, don't send it in the first place.
What,
I don't want to piss on your dreams for having this 1,000 horsepower, massively elaborate,
unnecessary.
Yes, chopper of waste outside your doorstep. But still, if you don't send it in the box, just
sometimes it is ridiculous how much. Like something small gets sent in a box that's like 7 times bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah, never mind. But again, I suppose we're not burning our own fuel and what have you. And the van was passing anyway. But
yeah. So have you got your Christmas shopping done? Is that all the parcels? Is that other people in the house buying? And yours?
There's another. Oh no, I need to do 2. There's another parcel coming, but then there's some other things that I need to do something first and then get something.
Oh, right.
Which hasn't happened yet.
Right.
It will do, James. Don't worry. It will.
12 days yet.
Yeah, we've nations of time. Nations of time.
It's just, I don't know. Christmas is when you're older, it's a bit of a completely different experience.
Stressy.
Well, I can't really complain too much because Lindsay does most of it, but I do end up in a situation where I'm thinking, I have no idea what to get. For the few people that I do have to buy stuff for, I do end up, and the trouble is, you don't want to buy something that isn't like. As men, you try and think of what's useful.
Try to, obviously.
Yeah. Because you don't want to waste money on something that isn't useful. But you also don't want to buy something for somebody that, like, sometimes you end up with stuff that actually you'd rather you hadn't bought. Because
James, you're sounding awfully ungrateful now.
Well, I'm not. Just like.
You know what's been spent on it.
Yes.
And you don't agree with that in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you really don't agree with it landing at yod off.
Well, it's just the fact that, like, for the sake of what is effectively a religious festival that's then been turned into something else. Or
Yes.
religious celebration that's been turned into something else. This was actually something else. So, Mexico celebrates Christmas because they are the main religion is Catholic. He just said, "Oh, we'll be slowing down next week," and I thought, I'll just double check. Is that because of Christmas, or is it just some other reason? He says, "Oh no, it's because of Christmas." I was like, "All right, fair enough." So yeah, so it's a big deal, like. But yeah, you just think sometimes money gets spent that shouldn't be spent.
Yeah, there is a massive push. It's an arms race thing.
Right?
It is. It always you know you could just like you'd hear old people talking about, oh well, we just hung a stock up and we got a satsuma and some nuts and maybe a few sweets or something, and that was us done, and we were happy, and away we went.
Yeah.
And then it starts to gain a little bit of speed, and then obviously it's driven by those who gain from it.
Yeah.
It's driven by the retailers and the manufacturers.
Yeah.
Especially with the idea of, do you know, really like presents? Children.
Yeah.
And who can say no to children? Only nasty people can say no to children. And then this whole Santa thing kicked off, and Santa. But I'm not really fond of the whole Santa thing because you get, oh well, such and such got like a games console off Santa.
Mm.
And you think, well, I got a packet of sweets, and
Yeah.
there was no even ground. I can remember Shell said something along the lines of when she knew a girl, she got a horse off Santa,
Yeah.
and Shell was saying, oh, I've got some books.
Yeah.
So that's not a level playing field, but none of it's a level playing field. Yes, some people with the disposable income may well spoil the kids. There'll be people out there who maybe can't just afford to.
No.
Will still spoil people or whoever, or feel duty bound to do it.
That is one of the problems. Is
That's,
and then you just sometimes. The trouble is, like, there's quite often most of the stuff that I want is actually for the business. It's some tool or something that would make life easier.
That exactly will make my life happier.
But I don't want someone spending money on that thing for me to use in the business. Mainly because normally it's like a lot of money, and secondly because they'll have paid 20% more than they needed to because they'll have paid the VAT on it as well, which I could get back.
Exactly.
So I'm a bit like,
and write it down as a business expense.
yeah.
Yep. What I was thinking about this as well, because I've been in the same thing as well, because Michelle's asked me, oh well, what do you really want? And I was thinking, well, there are some stuff that I really want, but it'll be for me to buy.
Yeah, I'd rather I bought it.
But what I think that they could do is give you the nod almost, like have a token, give you a token to say that thing that you've been thinking about buying, go and do yourself a favour and go and get it.
Yeah,
you know,
almost like you just the sort of mentally you're like, I only want that, but I can't justify it.
Yeah,
or I don't deserve it. So basically, the nod to say, you've worked really hard, you can afford it.
Stop pissing about and go and buy it.
Just go and buy it. Someone else makes the decision to say yes, go and do it.
Yeah, which is at the moment I was thinking. Well, I've just come to me now. I was thinking that Shell could. The perfect Christmas present for me would be again one of these tokens to say, go and buy that digger.
Yeah.
You know you'll use it. You know you need it.
Yeah.
Go and buy. In fact, why haven't you gone before now?
You'll enjoy using it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a miserable person on a digger?
All we need is some of these tokens printed up that just say, "Stop pissing around, dickhead. Go get it bought."
Yeah. Here's my Christmas list. these are all the things I'd really like, but I don't want anyone else to buy them. But pick one off there.
Yeah.
And just
yes.
give me the nod that
Yeah.
you can go buy that.
Yeah. Which do you think?
Yeah.
You know? Oh yeah, go buy that digger.
Here's your voucher for a big X.
I know you've been looking at these diggers for ages, and I know you've had to see them come and go, and you've had to miss out on some of them, but I think it's about time you just took the plunge and said, yeah, go on, get one.
Sometimes it's like the amount of time you spend looking at something gets way out of hand relative to the amount of time you might actually be using it. You spend more time looking at stuff or trying to find one or trying to hunt one down that's right, and you think, "Traffic hell, I should have just gone and bought one."
I've been looking for a replacement wrapper for quite some time now. And I think it was maybe 3 years ago I was in negotiations trying to buy one, and I was fannying about over 500 quid. But at the time, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Whereas looking back now, I should have bitten that man's hand off. I should have just said, put it on a wagon and send it. Just write me up whatever convoluted finance deal you like. Just sign me up to it, send it. Because now they're way more money, and I cannot find one.
Man.
They're just not there.
Yeah.
I know of one, but it's £5,000 too dear.
Whereas in the past it was 500 quid too dear.
Well, no, that one was. It was about on its money. It was fine actually. I was just
stubborn,
quibbling. Yeah.
and you pay the price.
I can remember just saying, "Oh well, you know." I said, "Well, look, it's your prerogative. It's your machine. If you have somebody coming to bid you for it or whatever, just sell it. But I'll need just give me the weekend just to have a bit of a think about this."
Right. And it sold over the weekend.
I think it either went or I either said, "Look, or I left it with him saying, "Look, if you think anything more about it, give me a bell. Or if you want to meet me where I said." But I said I can't go where we are.
Right.
But looking back, probably should. Looking back at a lot of things, the way that the price that machinery has gone up is just astronomical.
Yeah.
And I think about all those tractors that I've traded in the past for peanuts. And I mean peanuts.
And what they would be worth now?
What would that fast track be worth now?
I did see a fast track for sale the other day and I thought, that's about like that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't without its faults.
Oh no, none of them. Well, apart from that Fergie wasn't actually showing any faults.
Right.
But I just
chickened out.
No, chickened out. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it had done more than 10,000 hours.
Whereas if it was stood in front of me now at the price that I got for it, I would knock someone's hand off.
Right.
Yes, thank you very much. Even if I had to put a new vario in it, thank you. But never mind.
Yeah.
You live and learn.
You do. Yeah. No, I had that conversation this morning with Johnny about the price of stuff. It's just mental, isn't it?
Well, who out there? I said this to a lad that works for Carl's Billington. Rob, salesman.
Yeah.
I said, since the price of everything's gone up nearly half as much again in the past couple of years, who out there is charging half as much again for the work that they are doing? £40 an hour for man and tractor with your own diesel. Back before all this price hike worked, I wouldn't have said that was bad going.
No.
Who's charging 60 quid now?
Nobody.
I don't know. If you are buying a new tractor now and trying to pay it off, you are having to give it some work. I would argue you're looking at like 1,500 hours a year just to warrant it. It used to be hovering when I used to work my figures out, it was hovering around the 1,000 hour mark. If you were doing 1,000 hours, something like that, you could about warrant new. But who is charging? If all these things have increased by 50%, where's it coming from?
Yeah, where's the money coming from? Yeah. I don't know. It's mind-boggling, really, isn't it? Because no one in the industry works like that, do they? That I'm aware of.
Well, again, that's one of the biggest problems with it, isn't it?
People are willing to work for nothing.
Yeah, but it's more than just a job that's on the line, isn't it? It's more than just... And no 2 years are the same either, that's a problem. We're victims of the weather.
The variables within agriculture have to be more than any other industry. The uncontrollables, the main one being, like you've just said, the weather.
Yep.
That's like just... So you start with that, to be fair, and then there's all the other variables that most other businesses have to put up with or try and work with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
which
exactly.
A lot of the time the situations you end up in, you're like, how the hell did we end up here? How did that happen? How did it's just some of the stuff that as running a business you end up dealing with, you're like you couldn't allow for that. You couldn't anticipate for it. It's just nonsense.
No, and suddenly you're faced with it and you're having to deal with it. Yeah.
So it's just... So yeah, anyway, it's mental. But yeah, I think they're just, like you say, the price of stuff. It isn't sustainable.
Unless the price is, unless the farm gate price increases.
Yes. Yeah.
To a reasonable level.
Yeah.
We're getting all sort of depressive and what have you. We'll just have to wrap it up and crack on.
Yes. Yeah.
But on the whole, thank you for watching. Obviously.
Thank you. I'll try and finish properly this time.
Yeah. Comment, subscribe, like, all that jazz, because not many people have, so we're bored. We're waiting to respond to people and say thank you.